And we are live. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Krista. You're at Why Am I Yelling Live. This week, you guys, I'm so excited to have Jheanell here because I feel like this is a topic that we don't talk about enough. And I'm so excited that we were introduced through Bianca Farrell, and I am very excited to have this conversation with you. So I'm going to introduce you and we're going to get started. So as you guys are coming in, please share this and ask questions, and let's make this a lively conversation. So welcome to Jheanell Adams. Jheanell is an angel mom advocate who helps women who have experienced baby loss regain their confidence, conquer their grief, and take steps to thrive in their new normal. She created a platform to help remove the stigma, shame, and loneliness of losing a pregnancy or infant by sharing real stories, advice, and resources. And Jheanell is sitting here with her gorgeous little baby who I want to eat his cheeks so bad right now that I'm like, gonna come steal him from you. So thank you for being here. Welcome to the show. Tell me more about your story and your journey, because this is super important and something for all of us to consider or keep in the back of our minds when we're talking about pregnancy and all of that kind of stuff, right? You never know who's been through this. So welcome. Thank you for being here. And
thanks for having me.
Ready, set, go.
Okay, so my story, I guess this really goes back to being a newlywed and getting pregnant with our first baby, who was a little girl. And just being super excited. You know, we were only married for about a year and a half. My husband and I originally met in New York, and then we moved to Florida, and then we moved back after our marriage. And then, you know, we were in back in a new space and just entering this new chapter in our lives together.
Yep.
And I had a relatively normal pregnancy, no real red flags or anything. But unfortunately, I ended up going into labor extremely prematurely, and my daughter was born right before the 24th week. So unfortunately, after a few hours, she ended up passing away.
Right.
And that really, in the moment, I thought my life was over.
Yeah.
I was 24. Yeah, I was, 24 years old, so I was very young.
Super young.
And I just remember being in the recovery room while I was waiting for them to bring her to us to spend time with her. Because after a baby passes, they do allow you to spend time with the baby, and it helps with closure and things like that. And I just remember saying to my husband, why would God do this to me? Like, why would he essentially end my life so early? Because I just felt like that was it. I didn't see how I was supposed to go back to being my normal self, who was, very bubbly and loves to make people laugh and outgoing. Yeah. I was sure I was going to end up in a mental institution. I didn't see how I was supposed to function.
Right.
It was a very hard time. I'm not gonna lie. I did get help through therapy, church. I ended up moving back to Florida because that year was just crazy. Between our baby passing away and then we both got laid off from our jobs and in New York. So super expensive. So we're like, okay, we can't even, we can't stay here. So it was just thing after thing. But one day I just came to the decision that I was either going to let this end my life really, or I was going to fight for, I was going to have to fight to keep going and to feel like I still had purpose and feel like I still had something that I needed to do here and carry her name on too, because that was really important to me, that people knew that she existed and that I essentially created a legacy for her.
Right. So how long after, you go through the whole grief is a process, right? And it's for any loss. So you go through the anger phase and the sadness and the depression and all the stuff. And then how long was it until you realized, guess what? I'm still alive and I have to do something to continue to live.
That's a good one. Because some days I would feel like that, and then I would kind of like go back, and then because that's how grief is. It's very like, you know, back and forth. But I remember having a conversation with my mom when I moved to Florida, and she said to me that you are strong. Right. And she says, I know that because you come from me.
Right.
And
moms like to say that.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing is, like, my mom and I are very close, and my mom and I have been through, I've seen what my mom has gone through, you know, because we've just been very close. And she's like, you know what I've been through, you know, the challenges I've faced. And she's like, you see me here and I'm still here. And she's like, you are a part of me. So that means that you have this strength too.
Right.
You know, and that was a very pivotal moment for me. And then, I'm getting a little choked up because I haven't thought about that in a while. So that was a very pivotal moment. And then when I got pregnant with my oldest son, Grayson, who's now 4, my husband really sat me down and he was like, you can't grieve at the level that you're grieving at if we're going to get him here safely.
Right.
So that was, that too was like a big thing because I couldn't put my body under that amount of stress because I was already going to be treated as a high risk pregnancy. Yeah. And, you know, like stress is like number one thing, like you can't be stressed, that whole thing. So he really sat me down and he was like, we are going to have to figure this out together. But we can't do that.
How long when you lost Jolie, how long did it take you to get pregnant again?
Well, we didn't try right away because I wasn't sure if I wanted to try right away. Number one, I wasn't even thinking about trying right away, honestly. Right. And then we started talking about it a little bit, but I was so scared because I didn't know, and to this day, I still don't have a clear-cut answer as to why this happened. So just the fear of the unknown, and I was just like, I can't go through this again. So there was that really big fear. And then eventually, I just I let it go. I was going to church a lot. My pastor told me about this little boy that I was going to have. And I was like, I don't want to hear about that right now. Right. I just want my daughter back. You know, I wasn't in a place where I was ready to receive that. And on my 25th birthday, I decided to get saved. And after the program and everything, like we were getting ready to leave, and my pastor put his hand on my shoulder and he said, "You're ready for your baby now." And I was like, okay.
You're crazy.
And then I was like, all right, whatever, I'm going home. It's my 25th birthday. Like, you know, I love Jesus, but I also need to go to dinner with my friends and my family and all that. I got to get out of here. Right. And a month later, I found out I was pregnant. I was 4 weeks pregnant. So that was about 9 months after, maybe 9-10 months after my loss.
Okay.
Yeah. It felt longer, but.
Well, I'm sure that's like eternity. I haven't lost a child, so I don't know what that feels like. And, you know, loss is not something that I'm immune to because I've lost a parent and I know what that's like. But, you know, I can't even imagine. And I know several people who have lost their children in different stages, right? Yours was very early on. I have a friend who recently lost her son. He was 23. And, you know, relatives who have lost their children. And so it's none of it is, it's all the same, right? It feels devastating. It's horrible. It's not anything any of us wishes would happen to anybody we know or even our worst enemy. And so now I want to know, how did you come to making the decision to have a voice and help other women get through this type of thing that happens in their lives?
I've been blogging since I was engaged because, again, this happened to me at 24. I got married at 22.
Right,
so I was very young when I was getting married. So I didn't really have anyone to talk to about wedding stuff 24 hours. Because my friends are doing normal 22-year-old, 21-year-old things. And, and I was in college too, but, they're being normal, they
weren't planning weddings.
Yeah. So I started a blog as a way to, document the wedding planning, and Pinterest wasn't around back then. So my blog was also where I would put like all my inspirations and all my ideas and things like that. Right. And so after the wedding, I still continued blogging, and I just shared like everyday stuff. So like when I got pregnant, then like I shared that there too. And then when a loss happened, by that time I already had like a good group of people reading my blog. And I started just using it as an outlet because I didn't have anywhere else to really like dump those feelings. I didn't feel like, and this is a very common feeling that most women have when they go through loss. It feels like no one understands you, right. No one gets you. So my blog was just a place where I could just put my emotions out there. I'm an introvert, so for me, writing is how I express myself. And I I read these blog posts now, and I'm like, damn, like you are really honest. Like this is some raw stuff.
But you know what? But I think that is so important, and it's, it's what other people, they flock to that. They associate with it. They just connect with it. And I think that for a lot of us, it's hard to do that, like to put ourselves out there and to be raw and to be like, oh my God, I can't believe I just said those words out loud.
Yeah.
Or on a paper or in a blog post or wherever it is that we're putting it. But then the response that you get back.
Yeah.
Right? So tell me about the response.
The response was, people were so supportive. They've really, and I'm still blogging to this day. So a lot of these people have essentially grown up with me from being a 21-year-old engaged college student to, now I'm 30 and I now have kids and going into home ownership and all that stuff. So everyone was just very supportive. And then so people started opening up to me about their own stories. And then when they would have friends or family members who went through this, then they would send them to my blog. And then the funny thing is, eventually I stopped writing about it altogether because I was like, this is just so depressing. I was like, I don't really want to like.
I'm not laughing, but.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm like, I don't want to. I was nervous about being known as a blogger whose baby died. I didn't want that title. And so I just stopped writing about it. But the emails never stopped. The direct messages never stopped. I'm going through this. Can you help me? My sister's going through this. What can I do to help her? My cousin's going through it. Never, ever stopped.
Right.
This happened in 2011. It's now 2017. It never stopped.
Yeah.
Eventually I started a skincare company that was inspired by her because when I was deciding to try again, I didn't know what caused her to come so early. So I got obsessed about trying to control what I could. So like I started eating really well.
Yep.
Yeah. I started paying attention to ingredients in my body care items because I was a makeup artist. I'd gone to skincare school. And I was a blogger, so I had just stuff. And then I started going through all the ingredients, and I'm like, oh my gosh, these are horrible. And then I'm like, I don't want to start trying to have a baby, and I'm putting all the stuff on myself. Yeah. So that's how my skincare company came to be. I started making my own stuff, and that's named after her. That's called Jolie Bloom. And so for that, that skincare brand is for new and expectant moms and their little ones that want all natural stuff where they don't have to worry about toxic ingredients being in there and stuff like that. So that's how that came to be. But then I was like, I just kept having this nagging feeling over the past few years. Like, you have to do more, It was like, your skincare brand, like it's very surface. Like, you share your story every once in a while and, but that's not enough. Like I kept having this voice in my head saying, that's cute, but you're going to have to dig deeper and you're going to really have to go there. But I really tried silencing that for a long time, because if I had to go there, then I had to deal with my own shit. And I'm like, I don't really want to go there, because it is an ongoing process. It's not a grief that ends. That's the thing about losing a child, because your child is supposed to grow up. So, on birthdays and holidays and things like that, you're always thinking about this child that would be there. So there are always reminders. So it really doesn't end. But eventually I started working with my confidence coach. Her name is AC Brown, and she helped me to kind of put everything together. My older sister, she's been getting me to do something like this for years, and she just wouldn't stop nagging me about it. But when you hear things from other people who aren't related to you, it makes more sense. Although my sister, she's always been like, you're gonna help people, and and I'm like, yeah, okay. But it's, I don't know, it's always different when you hear things from people that aren't related to you. So between my sister and my coach, I just started putting together all these ideas I've had for years now, really, that I was really scared to go after. And it's been helping me too, in my own healing, and helping me to also realize how far I've come, because some days I don't feel like I've gotten anywhere.
Right.
But then when I'm helping someone, I'm like, wow, like I remember when I was there and how I felt. And now, because I've been there and worked my way through it, now I can help this person to navigate their way out of this like deep, dark, depression. I can help them, with certain tools, or just give them advice and things like that. So it's been very rewarding, and I wish I started sooner. Yeah. I wish I listened to my sister.
Well, look, I feel like everything is a process, and we all kind of have to go through our own process. And, we can all probably say the same thing. I wish I started coaching years ago instead of, staying in corporate America at my regular job for as long as I did and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like, I like what you said, how you're continually learning as you're going through the process. Because I feel the same way when I'm coaching my clients. It's like, oh my gosh, I feel like I just learned something. And it's a really great feeling to feel like you're still, while you're teaching and you're helping, you're still learning along the way. So I love that your clients are helping you learn, and that it's like, it's a full circle almost.
It is. Yeah. Cause I learn from them all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me what is the most, like, so now let's talk to the grieving moms out there who are watching this, like, watching the replay, watching it live, whatever. What is the most important thing that you would say to a client or someone who recently lost a child about how to work through their grief?
Well, the first thing that I always tell people is that there is no wrong or right way to grieve. Because people do feel like people are very hard on themselves. Like, it might be a month out and you're like, oh, I should be here, or I shouldn't feel this way. And it's like, no, like, you're entitled to those feelings. So that's always like my first thing. Like, you're going to grieve in your own way. There's no timeline, things like that. But I guess the most important thing is to, really just let yourself feel it, not allow people to tell you how to feel. Because it's like pregnancy, like when you get pregnant, everybody has advice.
Everybody. Yes.
And
every single body.
Yeah. And it's so annoying, and then especially if people haven't been through this, which is fortunate for them. But they tend to give the wrong advice, or they tend to say things that are hurtful, not on purpose, but, saying just even something as simple as everything happens for a reason. Like, baby lost moms hate that. That is like one of our top like phrases that we hate hearing, So the most important thing is to just grieve in your own way and just be gentle with yourself, and, connecting with other people who have been there. That's so important, And that's why I created my group, or my movement, the Angel Mom Alliance, just so that I can create a safe space where you can connect with other people who get it.
Yeah.
So when you say certain things, there's no judgment, or people, they don't have to ask you questions because they've
They
been
know.
there, they get it. So and connecting with people who are further along in the journey with you, and I think that's why people connect with me, is because they can see, like, wow, she went through this traumatic thing. They can go back on my blog to 2011, like they can see exactly where I was, and then if they see where I am now, it's like, wow, like, there is hope. Because like I said, when I went through this, I couldn't fathom, like, still having like a good life and enjoying myself. And I remember the first time I laughed, it turned into this like cry, because I felt so guilty for being happy. So which is why, like, now I do step into this role of being an example that, like, it's gonna be okay. It may not feel like it today, but it's gonna be okay, and you can still go on to have an amazing life and a full life, and a purposeful life. Because that's really important. So just knowing that there are people out there, and knowing that you're going to be okay, is so important. Because I felt so alone. Like, I thought I was like the only person. It feels like you're the only person going through this. And like I said, it feels like life is over. So just connecting with people like you, at in my group, there are women at all different stages. Some they're baby just passed 2 weeks ago. For some, it may be it's been a few years, or so we're all able to really support each other. It's not just me in there talking. It's everyone. It's a sisterhood, and that's really important to me, because I wish I had that.
I think it's so important. I think what you're doing is admirable, because you relive this every single day, right? Mm-hmm. And you relive it out loud. It's not that you're carrying it around with you and you're just getting through the day, and you've got 2 other kids now, and you have your life, but you chose to turn this into your mission, right? It's your journey, it's your purpose, it's your business. And so you can't, like, you can shut it off at some points, but really you can't. Like, you don't really shut it off for yourself.
No. Not at all.
It's not easy. I give you so much credit. I commend you so highly, because that's not easy. And there are so many people out there who probably don't understand how you can actually do that. Like, you aren't, the strength that you have is unbelievable, because there are a lot of people out there who are probably going to watch this and they're going to be like, oh my God. Hopefully they're saying, if she can do it, I can do it. Right? That's really what we all want from our clients and from the people that we're trying to help, right? It's like, listen, if I can get through whatever it is my story is, you can do it too.
Yeah.
I think I love that message. And I want to say it gets easier as it goes on, but I don't know that that's true either, right? It just changes.
It doesn't get easier. It's just you learn how to navigate it a little bit better.
Right.
Like, just from, what I've learned, and because, like, my daughter's her 6th birthday is coming up next month on July 2nd. I'm going to be a mess that day. I already know. It's going to feel like it just happened, but probably instead of being in bed all day, it may just be maybe an hour or just a few, you know what I mean? It's like every year it gets a little bit better, not because it feels better, but just because I have the tools. Like, okay, I know what I can do to pull myself out of this depression, and that comes with time. And something that my sister cautioned me with as well in starting this is that she emphasized to me that I was going to really have to take care of myself on an emotional level, just so that I can handle my clients, and doing my podcast where I'm speaking to women who are being so open, so vulnerable, and sharing, like, all the details of their loss. You know what I mean? So that I'm not on the other side crying and falling apart because it's triggering me, you know? Sure. So self-care is very important. You know, I recently took 2 weeks off work, just so I can like rest and like regroup and, you know, so self-care is very important, you know, in the grieving journey itself too. You know, you really have to pamper yourself and, take care of yourself emotionally and physically, because it's kind of like starting your life all over again. It's weird. It's like this all new chapter. It's like your eyes are open for the first time, and you have to like learn to live within this like new normal. And self-care is definitely a part of that, because it's like you're getting so many emotional hits all the time, you know, especially in the beginning, like, you know, seeing pregnant women may be hard.
Right.
Having friends or family, people close to you who get pregnant, and you're still in your loss, that's hard. But then you feel you can't really say anything because you don't want to seem like you're jealous or you know, and it's not jealousy, so it's a normal emotion, you know. So the self-care is really important. And like I said, just having that support system, you know, and friends and family, if you're fortunate to have that, that's great too. Like I was not short of support at all. Right. But being around other people who had been through it, that's what really made a difference for me. Yeah. That's
amazing. I love this story, and all of your social media links are on here. You guys follow Jheanell on everywhere. Seriously. If you know anybody who has been through this, like I'm going to send like 2 or 3 friends to you. If you know anybody who has had to deal with loss of a loved one, loss of a child specifically, at any stage, it's not just right after you have the baby. It could be many years later. I know a lot of us have been through sickness with our child and all of that kind of stuff. This is all relevant and valid. And, you know, one of the biggest things I always say to all of my clients is like, your feelings matter, your stories matter. And every single one of them is valid. It doesn't matter how small you might think the world thinks it is. It's big to you. And so it matters. And we want to hear it. Yeah. And so seek her out and read about her and follow her blog and listen to her podcasts, because I have only known her for literally 3 days. And I've been reading her stuff and on her website and doing all kinds of stuff, because I think that this is such an undeveloped area that we don't talk about as women, because we feel like we've failed at something. And we have not. And that is the first message I want to say about this whole conversation. You have not failed at anything. And so I encourage you to, you know, have conversations and keep the conversations going. And, you know, I'm a writer also, so write it out, write your feelings out, journal. Make sure that you are, and add that to your self-care routine. I journal all the time because I can't keep all my stuff in my brain. And it's important. And then, when, like you said, like when you go back to your blog posts or you go into your journal, you start reading, you're like, oh my, I can't even believe that happened. Or, you know, it's cathartic. It's healing. It really does help. So I thank you for being here today. This was a really great conversation. And if anybody wants to get in touch with Jheanell, please reach out. All of her social media links are here. Follow her on Facebook, follow her on Instagram, do all the stuff. She's very inspiring, and I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot more of her in the very near future. So thanks everybody for watching this week. And we will see you back here next Thursday at 11:30. You don't go anywhere. I'm just going to end this broadcast, and we'll see you guys next week. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Thanks for being here.